Story time!
Story time!
Story time!
Story time!
Story time!
Story time!
True story!
True story!
The other day, I dreamt I was cuddling with a human-sized platypus. I stroked its beak and its tail, I wrapped my arms around it, and it made a sound I did not recognize. But that sound felt a lot like joy and calm and loyalty. I hear that's what some people call love. And maybe I didn't know what love sounded like until that moment, but that's not surprising to me. You know, survivors were like that. We're used to mistaking chaos for love. We've been trained to call our very realities things that they are not. So this clarity in my spirit was new. I woke up all rejuvenated and wanted to know everything about the love of my dreams. So I read every encyclopedia entry, every Wikipedia article, listened to every TED Talk I could find about the platypus, but they all described it the same way. Said it had the bill of a duck and the tail of a beaver. That it was weird and strange, but how strange does that sound to the platypus? That you could be saying it as the tail of a creature it's never even shared a continent with? It's like if it has the bill of a platypus and the tail of a platypus and poison spurs in its feet like a platypus, it's probably not a duck. It's like calling a thing it is not. It's like when colonizers that called themselves scientists landed on what was once a black continent we now call Australia. You know, when they first saw the platypus, they thought it was a joke, someone playing a trick. They thought someone actually wasted their time gluing bills onto the faces of rats. So they tried to remove the bill from the face of the platypus and subsequently killed a lot of platypuses that way, trying to uncover the joke. Turns out the joke was murder, because they were insistent on calling a thing it is not. It's like maybe my gender is a platypus. You know, people always trying to label parts of my body things that they are not. It's like when Columbus landed on Hispaniola, and Balboa landed in North America, and Hawkins landed in West Africa, and they saw all these black and brown bodies. They saw men and women, and they saw something else that they thought was a joke. They thought someone was playing a trick. They saw all these people that lay between their understandings of gender, and somehow, sometimes even beyond them. You know, some at the time called us healers. Some called us just purely divine. Now some of us just call it trans for short, but to them, it was a joke. It was someone playing a trick. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they ordered us killed by dogs. Maybe that's why they burned us alive. Maybe that's why they tried to kill everyone that ever saw us as holy. Maybe that's the punchline, because the joke to white supremacy is always murder. It's like when they told us they were bringing us civility on black and brown soil, but what they meant was that they were bringing us the transatlantic slave trade, because they like to call a thing it is not. It's like maybe my name is a platypus. Because when I say it, people tell me that's not what it should be, when really my ancestors called for me and I responded back, and they told me there is nothing blacker than me calling my own name into existence. But to you, maybe it's a joke. And maybe that joke is suppression, because supremacy always tries to kill things it doesn't understand. You know, I hear abusers do that sometimes. Try to devalue things they don't understand and call things that they are not. So I may call that gaslighting. They may call it law and order. They may call it civility. They may call it a joke or a trick on them, a trick on their science, a trick on their biology, a trick on their legal system, a trick on their supremacy, a trick on their superiority. But there will always be the platypus. Even when you laugh behind its back, even when you deny its power, it has poison in every step it takes. Underwater, it senses electrical pulses to find its food and the things that it will prey on. It reminds me of myself and the ways that I sense bullshit and decide what kinds of energy I will or will not feed on. Even when you think I am a joke, that my body is weird and strange. Even when you call me a thing I am not. Maybe I'm not a platypus. Maybe I'm just defiance with venom in my walk. Maybe it is just my familiar. Maybe I'm just familiar with the ways white supremacy works. Maybe my familiar teaches me to always call a thing exactly what it is, and I call you.